Welcome to another episode of Rectec Reels. Today I'm joined by Ricky from DayOne, and we're going to be focusing on the subject of early careers. Now, Ricky is an absolute guru in this space. Ricky, why don't you start by introducing yourself?
Thanks, Rob. Guru might be a stretch, but I'll try my best. Hi, everyone. I'm Ricky Doyle. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called DayOne. A little background of myself. I'm a second-time founder, or two and a half time founder, I would say. This is my second proper business, I would say. Extensive experience from my previous business in EdTech. Founded a company back in 2006. Myself, a business partner, no ideas, full of enthusiasm, and 15 years later, we managed to sell it on to an American firm. But in that journey, learned a lot about um, obviously business, technology, but ultimately people. So I'm trying to put that into good use with DayOne.
Amazing. And just for those people that are kind of tuned in today that don't really have maybe day-to-day dealings with early careers, can you just explain to us what is early careers and why is it something that employers should really have on their radar?
Yeah, great question, Rob. I think it's one of these areas that is very broad definition and I think open to everyone's interpretation. I think naturally the view falls into graduates and internships. Look, our view of the world is it's much broader than that, and it comes from people that have self-studied, people who are cross-training. Think about it, it's not necessarily an age thing. I kind of refer to early careers more as a experience thing than an age thing. So someone who may have worked in hospitality for 10 years, now looking to transition into a digital or tech career, they may be 30, but in my view, they still early careers when it comes to their new sector, if you like. But also includes young people who might be on a college program, some type of boot camp. So it is broad, yeah, but the value that these people bring, especially, it's different things from different walks of life. Someone might be early careers in your tech team, but has got great life experience in hospitality that could lead into skills learned, fresh ideas into the business. So I think it's this energy that early careers bring, full of enthusiasm, trying something new. Obviously, new tools and technologies learned to maybe help adapt into a business. So it's kind of the energy, I think, at the base of your organization, which also allows people to move, further up the organization while still keeping the skill level at the entry level of all departments, if you like.
That is such a good summary. And I've got to say, I've worked in the recruitment industry for almost 20 years, and I don't think I've ever thought about early careers without thinking or associating that with a young person, somebody that is early in their career, but not
Yeah.
everybody stays in the same career. And you gave a great example there of somebody transitioning from, a 10 years experience in one particular industry to someone else. I'd never really given that consideration that they are an early career.
Yeah. Well, even for myself, actually, I left school at 16 and for 10 years was a blue collar worker as a greenkeeper, a mechanic, a bartender, waiter, all these kind of roles. I got to my mid 20s and then got into IT. And when I look back on that journey, I was 26 or 27. And the problem you find is you're not quite sure how to transition the two worlds. So from this blue collar to white collar work is quite difficult. But I do remember my first day. I felt like I was 17, although I was mid-20s, because you still have that same feeling of anxiety and, this new environment, but definitely not an age thing, in my opinion.
And I was going to ask you, Ricky, about you're running a business that specializes in early careers, but where did that stem from? I think you've sort of partly answered it already. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, where did that really stem from?
So, in the previous business, I think because of my journey and the opportunities people had given me and opened doors along the way, I think I had something inside me to pay that forward in some respects without consciously going, I need an early career strategy and this is how we're going to do it. I kind of felt compelled to pay it forward. And in that world, what we did is we would put up a job role for anyone, no experience required. And we had this mechanism of getting people into it. And what I found was, there's this huge pool of untapped talent if you look in different areas. And I used to be listening to friends of mine who ran businesses. We can't find anyone. And I would think of the young lady who was an ex-makeup artist we had taken on to be a content administrator who was excelling at her job. I was like, they're there. You just need to go and find them. And I think it's kind of part of it is in me from my journey, but also recognizing there's a huge opportunity if you get it right to bring some amazing talent into your business.
I was thinking back to an article that I read very recently that DayOne produced, and it was around the value of a good hire. And I was wondering, do you think there is a perception attached to hiring somebody early in their career that it can lead to a bad hire?
Yeah, I do, Rob. I think there's this narrative out there that we have to de-risk this, and certainly early career seems high risk, because what happens if someone comes in and we spend all this time onboarding and training, and then they end up not being very good, aka a bad hire. And I understand the dynamics that fit with it, but become so focused on that actually we stop making space for early careers. So we start de-risking this by either making job roles and job descriptions too onerous and extensive that no one could actually ever apply for it, because the mindset is, I don't want to make the bad hire. And if we just flip that narrative on its head and actually we looked around the office and looked at everyone's journey, and you think where we all started ourselves, reflect on oneself to go, actually, you know what, someone took a chance on me and I've done okay, but that could be anyone in your organization. So the value of a good hire, I certainly outweighs this perception and risk of the cost of a bad hire. So look, we all have to start somewhere, and no one ever is the finished article, but if you're prepared to give someone that chance, they will more often than not prove you right, that it was worth taking a chance on them.
Amazing. Ricky, you've been absolutely wonderful today, and I hope anybody listening has learned a thing or two today about early careers. If you want to learn more about early careers, then don't hesitate to reach out to Ricky at any time from DayOne. And obviously, if you are in the market for any form of recruitment tech, be that an applicant tracking system, HRIS, or a recruitment CRM, do take advantage of Rectec Compare, our technology comparison platform from rectec.io. Ricky, thanks again. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully, this won't be the only reel we do. We can find some more time to do another one. Maybe we can talk about another subject next time. But thanks so much for joining.
Thanks, Rob.
Cheers.